Here we are in early November, and it went from fall to really feeling like winter very quickly. I'm gonna guess a lot of you folks in the Northeast or around the country are experiencing a similar thing, where it went from a nice mild fall to really cold really fast. We've been in catch-up mode, kind of scrambling quite a bit, and I wanted to share in this video some things that we luckily did a little bit before it got this cold that are going to make it a lot more comfortable for our chickens. So stick with us. One thing we haven't gotten to in a deep and full way yet, but we plan to as soon as possible, is to actually really wrap the coop up to keep the winter winds out. Sasha went in as an emergency measure the other night. I picked up a bunch of leaf bags and dumped the leaves out here, which I'll talk about, and she very smartly took the leaf bags and just stapled them up over the biggest openings. Not a great long-term winter solution, but at least takes the pressure off for the moment. But it just happened so fast, we just weren't able to catch up as much as we'd like. What we're actively trying to work on right now is to renovate and bring up to speed the winter run for our chicken scenario. For those of you that have followed the channel, this is something that's not completely new to you. If you haven't seen this before, or if you want a refresher, I'm going to link here to where we talk about this. About a year ago we built this. It's a cattle panel high tunnel. There's 4 panels here, open on the south side and the north. I'm going to add some flaps here soon enough, but I want to add material in first. What we're trying to do is, as fast as possible, get this area filled with a very active compost that'll keep our chickens happy. And there's a way that we've gotten that moved forward that I want to talk about. As per usual, it would have been nice if we were more organized and on top of things, but knowing that winter was going to be coming at some point, the last couple weeks, as time allowed, we've been taking this one area, which is about 20 feet away from the chicken coop, and dumping bags of leaves that we've picked up from people, some food scraps from our normal source. We added a bunch of grain into here. We've put in some manures, some wood chips. The important thing I'm trying to get across is that what we didn't do is an exact ratio, an exact recipe of, oh, this is the perfect quintessential compost pile. It was more like we had 15 minutes and a random pile of this and that, some old hay bales, and we've dumped them out. The benefit of this is that we've stockpiled a whole lot of warmth, organic matter, sprouting seeds. We've talked about sprouting seeds for our chickens in another video, which I'll link to here. And now we've got this stockpile that, although it's gotten cold so fast, we can get into this, and you can see the steam coming out of there. A lot of folks will talk about compost that unless you get the ratios exactly right, it won't work, or you have to do this, you have to do that. And if that's your style, by all means, you should go that route if you want. We have learned over the years, if you build it, they will come, and they are the thermophiles and the warmth and the microbes and all the beings. And so now we've got this material that on a sunny day, although it's very cold, the chickens can come out and access. But more importantly, I can now consolidate this and slowly but surely bring it over to that high tunnel. So when we get 10 degrees and it's heavy wind and snow, our old hens will be comfortable and being able to eat. Excuse me, my friends. So I'm just starting to build it up in here. Now, in case you're shocked or upset, that's up to you, but we recently came across a deer. We processed the meat for ourselves and for our cat and for some friends, and the remainders we put in. And now that I built a hot compost pile, we've put parts of that deer on top. We consider chickens to be omnivorous. They are dinosaurs, and they absolutely, as we get into the cold time, really adore the meat, the blood, the fat. It's really good for their bodies. They thrive on it. And so by putting it on top of a hot compost, it'll keep it thawed and available to them. Now we're starting to build up this compost windrow and bringing compost that by no means is a perfect ratio, perfectly balanced, but at least getting it consolidated where the chickens have access to it. In an ideal world, I would have moved this compost. This is our first bay in our composting system that we normally use spring, summer, and fall. I would have moved this along. We would have had this turned. Probably would have bulked it out with a whole lot more carbon. It's a little bit anaerobic, a little bit wet, definitely warm, but it's here. And what we can do now is fold this in to our winter high tunnel and bulk it out with some carbon after the fact. So we didn't get it perfect the first time. Compost is always willing to have another turn, so to speak. So I'm going to bring this in and start bulking it out with some more leaves. The beauty part is the chickens very happily, pretty much all day, every day, will help to aerate and turn and pick through and support this whole process. I don't think we have to get this whole high tunnel completely filled today. I don't think we have to get it perfect. We'll just keep adding it. As we get colder and colder, we'll focus time as it allows to bulking this space out with a little walkway through the middle. And our hens, our old retirement age hens, will be able to come out and kick through, get some of the heat that's in here, lots of sprouts, and we'll watch what they're doing, make adjustments on what we're seeing, what we're smelling, to try to make sure that it smells as healthy and open and clean in here as possible. And they'll work on sprouts, they'll work on meat and fur, they'll work on the earthworms that are in here, and hopefully they'll have a really nice winter, even though it just came on so fast, so cold.